Okay, that's fine.
As possible. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this side event. Although the international community has made its displeasure clear over the detention of rights activists and murder of a journalist, no high-level figure has been held accountable for these crimes. This lack of accountability is not an isolated issue, rather a feature of Saudi Arabia's judicial system and hierarchy of power. It's a culture that seems from the very top, from a government led by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who has led a crackdown on dissident, arrested and tortured critics of the government, led Saudi Arabia engagement in the devastating war in Yemen, and ordered the murder of an expatriate journalist.
We've also recorded instances of quite routinized, almost normalized, casual brutality towards prisoners and detainees by security and prison officials, such as the case of a prisoner who was viciously beaten until his arm was broken and then dragged by his ankles round the prison corridors behind a cart. This sort of thing can only happen when the low-level perpetrators, the junior officials in prisons, have no fear of being disciplined by their seniors. And this attitude, this culture, runs right through the system, all the way from the bottom, it seems, to the very top. The fact that in 2017 the country's senior leadership, King Salman and Crown Prince Mohammed, allowed two notorious torturers from the Mabahith secret police to be appointed head of the new state security presidency and director general of prisons strongly suggests that they weren't intending to end such abuse, despite their claims of reform. But in fact, they were at best condoning it. And since that time, Al-Qist has observed an alarming rise in the prevalence of prison torture.
We've had a very interesting report, I think it came out last year, no, 2017 now, from the UN Special Rapporteur on Terrorism, who was allowed in to Saudi Arabia. And I would encourage people to read that as well. Why Ben Emerson was let in may well be that because of the sort of anti-terror slant of the SCC, it may well be that the Saudis thought that he would be a good person to come in and have a look. But I would encourage you to read that report. These are small steps, but they are important steps.
So the states at the UN spoke and Riyadh listened because there's been recent news that Lujain al-Hadloul was forced to sign a royal amnesty or pardon, and it appears that the Saudi authorities are trying to find a mechanism to release her without losing face. So the international pressure is working, and this, along with other efforts such as the EU resolution on women's rights and women's rights defenders, and the support of individual governments and institutions are taking effect. Such joint actions and coalitions must be strengthened and amplified if real change is desired.
And with all 10 and more, actually, women human rights defenders remaining in prison, continued and increased international pressure is going to be essential to secure their freedom. In June, at the June session of the Human Rights Council, we're going to hear the reports of the Special Rapporteur on extrajudicial executions on her investigation into the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. This report will make a range of recommendations to the UN and member states on actions that they should be taking, including for the purpose of accountability, and I think it's very important that the Council act upon